Hello everybody, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast and welcome to the match reaction. It's Thursday morning and we're doing a match reaction for a Wednesday night game of football. Strange times, but that's what you get with the festive and Christmas period. Games all over the shop and lots of games as well. Not so much this year though, because of this deadly pandemic that's just sort of hovering, but I'd also say more than hovering across the UK and the world at the moment. But you know, we're lucky to have a game, and we were lucky to have a game yesterday, but we did have a match, and we did play AFC Wimbledon in League One. Now, we could have a game on Saturday, looking a little bit unlikely at the moment with Cheltenham having a bit of an outbreak at the football club we're hearing. There are very mixed signs of whether or not we're actually going to have a game. Some say we're confident that we're still going to have a game, maybe on the Tuesday, we don't know, but all we had to focus on was yesterday's game. And although there was a lot of talk about the game, the Cheltenham game before this one, all you had to try and think at this time was, this is the game we're speaking about, this is the game we're here to watch, and this is the most important game right now. As always, please give your thoughts in the live chat and the comments down below. I want to hear all of your thoughts. I've moved up a little bit. I think if you put something in the live chat, it should come up on the screen as well, so you can get involved and everyone can see what you've got to say as well. But I want to hear what you've got to say. I want to hear your thoughts on this game, because Oxford United, you can see the title. It might be a little bit over the top. It really might be, but I don't think it's over. I don't think it's over the top with how I've put it, really. And there's a little bit of tongue in cheek, should I say? But ultimately, I think yesterday we showed that we really are title contenders, and we're only 5 points off the top. Plymouth have got a few games in hand. I think at Plymouth we've got a game in hand on Plymouth, and I think we're going to got a game in hand. I think nearly 2 games in hand on a lot of teams around them. But I really think we're up there. And if we're not title contenders, I certainly think we're up there for automatic promotion, because yesterday's game of football and the way that we played yesterday was absolutely phenomenal. And I think what we're seeing from this Oxford United side now is something that we haven't seen in previous seasons. It's sort of this relentless attitude where these players don't drop off. They don't, if we're playing opposition that we maybe think that, that clearly aren't as good as Oxford in terms of ability, we don't drop down to that level. We raise ourselves to beat them, and we sort of just, brush ourselves past an opposition. And that's, again, something we haven't done in previous years. In other years, what we've tended to do is almost when we were playing against a side at times, and no disrespect to AFC Wimbledon, we played them early in the season, they smashed us 3-1, fair and square. Set pieces were something that we clearly couldn't defend, and they're very good at doing that. They were better than us, and they beat us. We weren't great, but they were better than us the last time we played them. But yesterday there was a clear difference in quality, and you could see that. And it's about Oxford United knowing that there's a difference in quality and being able to play the game and also win the game with that, with knowing that that we have got better players and we do play a better brand of football, and can we do it? Not over the top. We are performing really well, and we're near the top. I think we are title contenders. I'm Paul. I'm glad you can see it. You can see there. Paul's chat is on the screen, so you can get involved and you can hit. You can put your live chat in there, and it should come up on the screen as well, so you can see what these people have got to say, which is very exciting. And remember, leave a like and subscribe. That's much appreciated. But no, that's something that we've got to be really impressed by at Oxford United. We've seen in previous years this drop in level when we're playing against oppositions that clearly aren't at the level Oxford United can be when it comes to ability. And yesterday we saw that. Now, the way that Wimbledon played, we'll go on to the tactics forward as we always do, but you could see the way that Wimbledon played. It was a very. They had I didn't really know watching the game their actual game plan, which is a little bit concerning. Now I think Oxford United did so well, and we'll also look at the stats as well, and you could see that we dominated in possession, we dominated in shots. They only had 2 shots, I think, in the entire game. So actually highlighting their game plan and highlighting the opposition's game plan is not going to be easy when they did not offer much at all. However, I thought I didn't really know how Wimbledon were going to approach this game from the start, and I think we also made that much easier because of the way that we played and because of the quality that we showed. We didn't allow them. We certainly did not allow them to try and approach the game in any other way than just try and hit us on the counter-attack, because we had all the ball, we had all the shots, we had all that attacking momentum. We'll bring up the attacking momentum graph as well, and you can see we're absolutely relentless from the start of the game till the end of the game. It took a while for us to score our first goal, before to score the first goal of the game and score our first goal, but ultimately we knew that. I felt, and I said it to myself when I was watching the game, I said if we get that first goal, and when we get that first goal, but more importantly, if we do get it, because there's games, it could have easily been one of those games where you knock on the door, and it finishes 0-0. They hit you on the break because you're going for it, and you lose the game 1-0, and you go away thinking, what on earth have I just watched? It didn't feel really like one of those games, I'm going to be honest, because it did only feel like a matter of time. But it felt like when you did get that first goal, the floodgates would open, and you'd go on and hopefully go and get your second and maybe your third, and we did just that. And that's full credit to Oxford United, not allowing AFC Wimbledon to really get a sniff at the game, not allowing them to really implement a style of play and implement a way of approaching this game from the start. Tactically, I think they looked a little bit almost shocked, I'd say, because they could not really change anything. They couldn't deal with the press. Oxford United's pressing was phenomenal from the start of the game and even at the end of the game. When you're winning the game and when you're very, very comfortable in a match, and when you're winning the game, 3-0 with only 5 minutes to go, you're still pressing and you're still closing them down, but not just a one-man press. I'm talking a three-man press. 3 men running at a fullback and then winning a corner, winning a throw-in. In the attacking third as well, so you can keep it in the corner, and run down the minutes and go on and win the game. And that, for me, is what makes a good Oxford United side. Not just a good Oxford United side, a smart Oxford United side, and a good one. A really, really good one. And anyone that, there's a lot of people that have got their opinions on Karl Robinson, and lots of people have got their opinions on the way that he sets up and the way that he plays and the sort of manager that he is. But ultimately, you've got to judge him on performances, and you've got to judge him on how well he's done this season and how well he's done from in previous years. I'm not going to sit here and say that he has never made mistakes as an Oxford United manager. I can probably name 3 or 4, 5 just off the top of my head, and there's lots and lots that if I sat down and wrote them down, I could obviously find. Sometimes, yes, we could be better. For example, game management in previous years we weren't very good at. Going to some big away grounds, we just didn't really look. We just haven't looked that good, and also have never got results. Whereas this season we've been able to do that. I can tell you, in the previous 2 seasons of the Karl Robinson, we would not have gone to Sheffield Wednesday and got a 2-1 win. This season we have, and again, that can't just be the players have got better or the players of this, because Karl Robinson is the player, is someone, not the player. He's somebody that's been around the football club for the 3 years. Players have moved on. Players have stayed, but players have also moved on and they've changed. The one person that stayed the same throughout all of this is the manager, Karl Robinson. He's been here 3 years, or coming up to 3 years now, and we've clearly seen a change in the way that we approach games. Now, yesterday it wasn't one of those games. I think we probably would have won that game. Last season, I think we would have done it. We were very, very good. But that's what I'm trying to say, that there's a sense now where the players look like they're going to run through brick walls for your manager. If they're going to do that, then you're in a very, very good place. If you've got a manager that's gonna have that authority, but also respect from the players, because you need that, and that every single player is going to work their absolute socks off to impress the manager and make sure the manager gets what he wants, and that's the win, then you're in a very, very good place, and you'll be successful, and you'll be a successful team in League One, and I'd say just in the Football League, because you've got a manager there that demands authority, demands respect, demands hard work, and the players are showing just that. And that's exciting. That's really, really, really exciting. You've got to have that, and I think we've got that. People that say that he hasn't got any tactics, I mean, you're stupid, because he clearly does have tactics. Because you don't win games of football, you clearly, if you don't think that he's got those the tactics in a game, you clearly are definitely underestimating the complexity of winning a game of football, especially in League One and in top level management. Because yesterday we could have lost that game if we weren't tactically set up correctly. If we didn't have Herbie Kane playing the role that he plays, we would have that's a big factor, Herbie Kane, and he's a massive, massive player. We'll come on to him as well, because he's staying at Oxford United for at least the end of the season. But really, really happy with that. I wanted to make sure that Karl Robinson gets some credit, because I thought the way that he set up yesterday and the way that he set up this season has been absolutely brilliant, as well, dealing with difficult circumstances. I know a lot of teams are, but we've played through times where we've had a lot of players out with COVID, and that definitely deserves credit. But yesterday, I wouldn't say yesterday as well, I want to make clear as well, yesterday probably wasn't the day where he used most of his tactics, because of, like I said, in previous years you'd expect to win that sort of game, because Wimbledon did not offer much. However, what I saw yesterday more than ever was that hard work and willing to run through brick walls, and that comes down to the manager as well, because you've got to impress your manager, and you won't do that for anybody. You've got to do that for someone that you respect, and for someone that demands that, and he certainly, but that's a shadow of a doubt, absolutely demands that. Now, I want to move on to this screen here, and I want to go over here to, first of all, the stats. We'll look at the stats as well. You can see Oxford United. I mean, you can just look at those average ratings across the pitch. 7.31 for Oxford United. Every single player, and I probably bumped Steve Seddon's rating up to a 7. Every single player definitely gets more than a 7. And that shows a lot. That shows so much. That shows how much of a good performance that was yesterday. Not just a team, but in terms of individuals. And if all of your individuals are playing very, very well, the chances are your team's playing very, very well. And that was certainly correct yesterday. You can see there, every single one of those players were fantastic. They gave Gavin White man of the match, probably because he did get, I believe, 2 assists in the game, and he was good. He did miss an absolute sitter, though, in the first few minutes of the game. I thought, if that is the big chance of the game, the only big chance of the game, that's going to be very, very concerning. Thankfully, it wasn't. And one thing I would say about Gavin White, his delivery into the penalty area yesterday was absolutely phenomenal. And again, we can come back to the way that the wingers were so impressive yesterday, and the way that Karl Robinson has got those wingers to play very, very well. Recently, because in previous years, I think this season more than ever, I think the wingers have been much more important. Whereas I think in previous years, you don't know what you're going to get with a winger. You're going to get a winger that's going to try and cut inside and shoot, or you're going to get a winger that, like last night, was going to run at defenders, put a ball in the penalty area, put it on a plate for Matty Taylor, and finish the dinner. Or you're going to have a winger that does both. And at the moment we're doing that. You've got Gavin White, who I don't think is cutting inside as much as he wants because he's lacking that confidence in front of goal. But you've got Ryan Williams, who's not scared to have a shot, but also someone with real pace that takes players on, puts balls into the penalty area. I thought it was absolutely fantastic yesterday as well. That midfield, though, that Brannigan, Herbie Kane, Sykes midfield was so good. Herbie Kane dropping deeper, but not as a defensive anchor man or ball-winning midfielder, you'd like to say, really. I'd say it's a deeper line midfielder who, when he does get hold of the ball, he does tackle, he gets hold of the ball, he does win the ball back, but he doesn't just give the ball back and then just try and play 2-yard passes back to Elliot Moore, back to Jordan Thornley, or a little pass out to Steve Seddon. He can do that, and that can work really well when we recycle the ball. But what he also does really well as well is get hold of the ball and try and find those more glamorous passes, and those not those Hollywood passes that sometimes come off and sometimes don't. It's a high chance that Herbie Kane will take a risk with the pass, and that risk will pay off. He can spring a pass out to Gavin White. White can make a run. He can find that pass over the defenders, get Gavin White in behind, and just like that, you're on the front foot and you've got a fantastic chance. And that's how important Herbie Kane is, and that's why it's so important that Karl Robinson, the board, Oxford United, and even Herbie Kane himself has made sure that he's staying till the end of the season. You can see Herbie Kane is playing with a smile. You can see Herbie Kane, not literally, not every time he gets the ball he's got a massive grin on him, but you can see he's enjoying his football. You can see that he's playing with that bit of confidence. The last few games, I'd say Herbie Kane, before he actually got COVID, interestingly, I believe it was COVID, we presume it was COVID, it might have been an injury. Before he was out for the Wigan game, or one of the lot of players that were out for the Wigan game, you could see maybe those levels drop a little bit, and you could see he wasn't as impactful, but yesterday he was right back in it, and he does much better as well. When we've got hold of the ball, when we're playing, when we're going to have the ball, he's so good. Sometimes we're playing against sides that try and dominate possession, and we're trying to find to get that possession back. Sometimes he doesn't. He's not as important. Well, he's important, but not as impactful. He doesn't play his best football. When we have the ball and we play with the ball, he's so significant because he's allowed to get hold of the ball, spring those plays out as well, and try and start attacks and try and be not just good defensively and so important defensively, but also offensively. You're also starting those moves off, and that's why Herbie Kane is so significant. I thought Mark Sykes as well was phenomenal. We could go on for days about Mark Sykes. I thought he was so good, and how well he's done this season. Last season, there was a good player there. There was a player that you could see was improving, but there was a player there that was lacking one thing, and that was goals. He was lacking that final touch. Paul Grove says, everyone played well, but my man of the match was Gavin White. He struggled a little bit at the start of the season, but yesterday he was excellent. Paul, I think you're spot on. Whether or not I'd give Gavin White my man of the match, I maybe would, other than that missed chance, but I mean, other than that, he was absolutely brilliant. He's certainly a top contender for man of the match. I think the official man of the match got given to Ryan Williams, but Gavin White was brilliant, and yeah, you've echoed exactly what I've said there in such a good way. What I'd say about Mark Sykes as well, like I already sort of got half the point I was mentioning, was how good last season he was showing that the level he could get to, but he's missing that one thing, and that was goals. This season he's getting goals. This season he's getting that. He's finishing off those chances, and he's also got that final product to his game. He's missing the final product. Was missing the final product. This season, he's certainly not. This season, he's not scared to get in the penalty area, finish off a chance. He's not scared to get in the box and have a shot. I think last season he's a little bit, he's in two minds. Do I shoot? I haven't scored a goal in nearly a year. Do I want to shoot? Do I want to maybe pass it off? There's chances where you just wanted to leather it in last season. He'd try and pass it across the goal to Matty Taylor, and it wouldn't be a brilliant pass because he was caught in two minds. This season, there's no doubt in his mind if he gets an opportunity, he's shooting and he's scoring. And that's what Mark Sykes this season. That's the difference between having a team with midfielders scoring goals, not just attackers. Last season, you're relying on James Henry, who didn't actually get that many. You're more relying on the likes of Matty Taylor. You're looking at Elliot Lee last season. Brandon Barker would come in with a few. Adji would come off the bench and maybe score a few goals last season. But this season, that Cameron Brannigan, he's not scared to shoot. He's not scared to hit the back of the net. You've also got Mark Sykes now in midfield. He's got, I believe, 8 goals this season. So he's now got a lot of goals. He's also been very, very good, not just scoring goals. He's also got a lot of goals and helping the team as well with creating chances. He's not scared to go on the ball, have a dribble on it as well. You've got Herbie Kane, who also, to be honest, maybe he hasn't scored a goal this season. He might not ever score a goal on an Oxford United shirt this season. But he's so important, allowing those midfielders, allowing those other midfielders to go and have those chances. That's something that I think a lot of people haven't spoken about yet. Maybe having Herbie Kane play as a bit more of a lying midfielder playing a little bit deeper, whereas you've got Gorin, who's a fantastic player and done a fantastic job, but he's definitely more of an anchor man. I wouldn't want to see Gorin try and spring 25-yard passes, 30-yard passes over to Gavin White getting in behind. That might be a little bit of a struggle. Gorin's job is sitting there and trying to break up the play and trying to play those simple passes. Obviously, like Herbie Kane, there's a difference to that. And maybe that's why we're seeing midfielders score more goals, because you've got someone like Herbie Kane sitting a little bit deeper who's not scared you're comfortable with Herbie Kane. I think you are comfortable with Herbie Kane. And I wouldn't... that makes it sound like you're not comfortable with Gorin. I say you're a little bit more comfortable with Herbie Kane, and you also know as well that offensively he's going to help you as well. I thought the back four was brilliant. Sam Long got his goal, but not just that. I thought defensively we were very, very good. We didn't have to deal with much. I'm not going to pretend like it was an absolutely outstanding defensive performance when we were getting pummeled by Wimbledon attacks and being relentlessly thrown by Wimbledon attacks. We weren't. It was certainly quite a straightforward defensive performance. We didn't have to offer too much there. But we had to do what we had to do, and there was moments where that we did have to be a little bit defensively solid. But also going forward, I thought our defences were really, really good as well. Karl Robinson has implemented a style of play where those wing backs are crucial to those attacks, and Sam Long and Steve Seddon were brilliant. You can see Sam Long. We'll switch over to tactics board here. These are the sort of average positions in a more attacking phase of play in the first half for Oxford United. Steve Seddon is normally around there. There's even moments in the game where Ryan Williams is there and Steve Seddon's up here as well, because Williams sometimes just gets there and sees Seddon let overlap and they can spread that back to Steve Seddon. And the recruitment to bring in a fullback that's willing to do that is brilliant, and that's spot on. Sometimes we get a little bit defensively exposed, and in those sort of circumstances, yes, you have to play a little bit deeper. But against a side that didn't really offer much going forward, why not throw your fullbacks up there? Why not try to play like that? Because ultimately, it only takes you a few minutes to realise in the game, not a few minutes, maybe 10, 20 minutes whether or not Wimbledon and how Wimbledon are going to play. Now, if they're going to play with Kaja, for example, and Osu, who was very, very quick, by the way, that number 37 was very, very quick and a fairly good fullback. Absolutely rapid. He liked going forward, to be honest. Didn't do much when he got forward. And also, what I say about Osu as well, is it Osu? He got hold of the ball here and he'd sprint all the way down there. And they got Palmer, who's a big striker. He really struggled, to be honest, to even get into, what you wanted from Palmer is to always be in that box, because I'd back him with a header. He's a big lad, he can hold up the ball, but when you've got someone running down that wing, you need to get players in the penalty area, and Everton struggled to really do that in the game, and you've got someone really, really quick going down there. He wants to put a ball in the penalty area, but he's so quick that almost his other players can't even catch up with him. But what Williams did so well, and Seddon and Williams were almost undefendable at times in terms of the way that they just attacked and the way that we use that left-hand side so well. Williams is rapid. He's not shy of confidence. Sometimes he even cuts in here. There's a moment in the second half where, obviously, you got to imagine, our yellow defence is a red defence. He gets hold of the ball in here and he just runs into that area. He draws fouls. He wins free kicks because he's not shy of confidence. He's playing with confidence. We've got a player there who is playing with confidence. And for a free transfer from Portsmouth, from a rival, a divisional rival, that for me was a brilliant signing. And we speak a lot about how sometimes we've got things wrong. You know, Sam Winner, that signing was one that I don't think was a very clever signing. If he's fit all the time and he's going to score goals, it's a clever signing. If he's not going to play games of football because he is injured, it's not necessarily his fault. But again, you have to do your background research on players. Are they going to be injured for, let's say, more than 50% of the season? If they are, is it worth spending? Yes, we didn't spend money on him, but we're spending a weekly wage on him. Is it worth doing that? I'm not entirely sure. With Williams, it's a free transfer. Is it worth paying a weekly wage for someone that, when you know, is playing with confidence? He's only been injured for probably about 4 games this season. But when he has played, he's been brilliant, and that's the difference for me. Players that are going to come in on free transfers, and that comes with recruitment more than anything, how well he's done. Same with I'd say the same with Steve Seddon. We believe we paid a fee for him, but Steve Seddon's been brilliant this season. That's another fantastic piece of recruitment we did. Thornley, another brilliant piece of business. Gavin White hasn't been the Gavin White we've seen in terms of goal scoring numbers from his previous time here, but last season it was moments of, and like Paul Groves said, it was moments of going back to what we've seen before. Got Tom in the chat as well. How you doing, my friend? Paul Groves, it's also great to see Taylor in such good form. Exactly, Paul. You're spot on. It is absolutely brilliant to see Paul Groves in good form. Paul Groves is in good form, but to see Matty Taylor in good form, you're absolutely right. It is to see, and he's getting the end of chances. How many goals has Matty Taylor scored this season? He got another one yesterday. I should know this. Is it 11, 12, 10? 10 goals this season for a striker. In going in the January transfer window, half through the season, we could be going on to 20. And that's, for me, the massive quality that we now have with Matty Taylor. And with those wingers doing so well, putting balls in the penalty area and letting Matty Taylor finish them, because he's a clinical finisher, and we know that more than anything. Again, Issa didn't have to do too much today. But yeah, the big piece of business at Oxford United, it's business, but the big news that came out yesterday, of course, was Oxford United extending that, not even extending, but making sure that Oxford United keep hold of Herbie Kane till the end of the season. It's something that Karl Robinson said in his post-match interview. Massive news. Huge news to hear that Herbie Kane is staying. There was, of course, it was an end of the season. It was meant to be an end of the season loan move. However, obviously, there was a clause in the contract that in January, Barnsley could recall that. Oxford United's board have paid a fee to remove that clause from that loan contract. And that, again, is showing intent. Now, let's not get over the top. The owners of Oxford United have not bought Herbie Kane. They haven't built a new stadium. They haven't built a new, built a new stand or bought the Kassam. They haven't done that. They have just paid a contract clause in Herbie Kane's contract. However, that, again, is a small piece of intent that shows we're going somewhere. And that's all you need. That for me, if that's what they do this season, maybe that's the only piece of business that happens in January. We can't sit there and go, well, it was really, really bad what they did. And they didn't bring anyone in, and they weren't very. Obviously, we want to see January transfers coming in the window, because we do need to bring some players in. A striker, for me, is something we need to do to help that Matty Taylor competition and all that sort of thing. But if that's the one piece of business they've done something very, very important there, and it's just paying a little loan clause. We don't know how little it is, but we believe it won't be big figure. A little fee to remove a clause from the contract to keep one of Oxford United's best players this season until the end of the season. If we lose Herbie Kane, I think that could have been the difference between us going up and not going up, because he's that important to the way we play. He hasn't got us 15 assists and 25 goals, but what he has got is he plays a crucial part in the system that is very, very important, and there's been no doubt has been very, very successful since the start of the season. Since he's come in, he has been absolutely brilliant. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is where I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you so much for everyone that's got involved. A little bit strange timing, 11 a.m. on a Thursday morning. Hopefully you're well. Happy New Year. I probably will do an episode of the podcast before New Year, but if this is the last time I see you and last time I speak to you before the New Year, then do have a really good New Year. Stay safe, of course, and hopefully you enjoy this episode of the podcast. Great 3 points for Oxford United, great win, and I'll see you all very, very